Welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. Today we have Cheston Davis of PhoneSkope.com on the line. Cheston, how you doing?
Doing great, Jay. How are you?
Good. I understand you just got done with a bear hunt in Utah and ran yourself ragged for 10 days.
Yeah, it was definitely different than what I'm used to. I'm definitely not up to chasing dogs and running and gunning and living that type of lifestyle. It was definitely something different. And I've come to find out that houndsmen, they're either 100% just in love with what they do or they're crazy. I haven't decided which one exactly,
Or
but
maybe a little
it was
both.
quite the experience. Yeah, definitely.
So your hunt was a draw hunt that you drew there in Utah, I believe on the beaver. And
Yeah.
how do you go about when you have a spring tag like this? How do you go about hunting bears and kind of give me the day to day of how that hunt ran down?
So, we get up every morning super early, get the dogs up, going, and as soon as daylight just started to get blue, we'd start cutting canyons and just put three dogs up on top of the truck and just keep going until they start rigging. Um, and this is something 100% new to me, my very first bear hunt. I'm not much of a line hunter or bear hunter, so uh, it was all a new experience to me. And honestly, I got huge respect for not only the animal, but also the houndsmen and those dogs. Those dogs and the houndsmen are just some of the most amazing duo you'll ever see. How they work together and they're able to know exactly where they're heading and if it's on a bear, on a lion, if they get off onto a different direction. It was just a cool experience. I mean, we cut these canyons, and then once we got a bear going, dogs would turn out, and you'd watch a GPS. And once they would either get it up in a tree or just keep walking it, then we'd have to get in closer to try to go see what we had, see if we had something big enough to kill. But most of the time, we spent our time digging out of trucks. I'm sure most people notice on social media we got stuck a lot, blew a lot of tires. It was a rough 10 days.
Those bears, you know, typically what kind of habitat will they be in? How long will they have been out of hibernation and, how much moving around were they doing?
At the very beginning of the hunt, we was having a hard time finding any type of bears. They was pretty much held up or really close to their den, is what my buddies were believing. So it took until it started getting quite a bit warmer. We still had a lot of snow coming in even into May. So once it started getting warm, that's when we started getting into the fresher bear sign. We'd find them higher than what I would guess. They'd kind of be following that snow line up really high where that green grass is starting to pull up, and they'd love that type of fresh vegetation to where there's the flowers starting to pop and fresh green grass and all that new type of
Growth.
vegetation just barely popping. Yeah, exactly.
And those bears, typically are they running all night and out and about, or are they, they moving around a lot during the daytime, or did you find them to be pretty lethargic during the day?
Yeah, it seemed like they was doing most of their moving during the night and early mornings. So we never could really cut anything fresh during the day. But then again, um, I'm just kind of relaying what I was told, so I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people that are like, "Oh, that's totally false." So I could be telling a total story, but I'll say it with confidence, like I know exactly what I'm meaning. How's that? But we found most of all the sign to be during the night, and so we would be able to. We'd end up putting up the dogs about 2 o'clock in the afternoon and going to work till midnight and getting up the next morning doing it again.
Yeah, and the beaver isn't exactly an open place where you can really glass them real well. I mean, it's pretty thick. Did you find yourself chasing those bears and chasing the dogs through a bunch of blowdowns and a bunch of crazy country?
Oh yeah, that was what we experienced the most was chasing the dogs when we didn't glass one bear up. There was one time when the dogs were going nuts. We turned them out, and I'm just standing there. Then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that looks like a bear, and it was about 150 yards away. And I'm like, oh, maybe not. And then right when I said that, the bear started to walk. I'm like, holy crap. Well, of course, here I am, 200 yards away from the truck without my bow or a gun. So I'm running back to the truck, and then my buddy Duke, we're using his dogs that day, he starts running over to try to pull his dogs up from the canyon to tell them, the bear's up here, guys, and they was following the wind down the canyon, when in all reality the bear was up top. So it turned into quite the fiasco of a day, and we spent the rest of the day getting to the dogs, and they ended up catching up with that bear, and they never did tree it. They were just walking it, but we could never get into where they was at because of the roadless area, and there was a private elk ranch on the backside of the Beaver Mountains that they was up against, and just in some really nasty terrain. So by the time we was getting into where they was at, the dogs were all wore out because it got so hot that the dogs were they were done for the day, and they was heading back up to where we dumped them out, and picked up most of the dogs that day and had to chalk it up as a loss.
When you guys actually ran into your bear and got him caught, tell me how that went down, and did you end up getting him with your bow or with a gun?
Yeah, that was a sweet experience because he treed fairly quick. And when I say fairly quick, it was still obviously miles, but nothing like an all-day event. So we was able to get him. They walked him for a little bit, and then we treed him up, and I was able to shoot him with my bow, and it was kind of a cool experience. I've never seen an animal die so quickly. I mean, it was probably 10 seconds or less. It was well-placed arrow, and I'm not going to lie, I was really spooked once I released that arrow as to what's that bear going to do when he falls out of that tree. I mean, is he going to just totally go nuts? He's going to have all these dogs barking and going crazy. I mean, obviously his adrenaline's going to be rushing. So I threaded that arrow, and right then I hurried and reached down and grabbed another one, and he's up there, and he died in the top of the tree. So we couldn't climb up the tree, so we found a couple giant logs and wedged him up there and was able to get him out of the tree. So it was a fun experience, something I've never done before in my life, and something that I'm okay if I wait another 5 to 10 years to do it again.
How big did you end up getting? A big bear?
Yeah, he was a really good bear. I mean, probably 350, 400 pounds. Waiting for the rest of the skull and stuff size to come back. I got it down at Travis Roundy's place. He's going to measure it out for me, but really good boar for us, especially for the bad luck that we had for every countless day we went out. It seemed like we just couldn't find anything big, and we couldn't find much. Nothing was really moving around, so it was a pretty poor spring season for us. So,
Cheston, I want to ask you, for those people that don't know you from prior podcasts, and we've talked about kind of your background with PhoneSkope.com and you and your dad, and you guys starting the company and all of that. But from a business standpoint, PhoneSkope has seen some incredible growth. You guys are in Walmart, you're in Sportsman's Warehouse. You sell a ton of stuff off of PhoneSkope.com. How has that progression of the company growing and growing and growing and becoming more well known, kind of talk a little bit how, maybe some of the challenges, some of the hurdles that you face with a growing company, and how is the health of the company right now?
It's we definitely have our challenges. I'm sure a lot of people just see the positive and stuff, but we definitely have our heads against the wall. I feel 6 out of 7 days. It was awesome and fun back when it was kind of an adventure and something new and neat and trying to get it to market and all the above. And now you look back and it's like, oh, now I'm living a nightmare. You start laughing about it. But in all reality, it's at times when your head's against the wall that you get to learn your true self and learn how to overcome those obstacles, and how to grow not only as a company but also as a family under this one roof. All of our employees, we put our heads together and we figure out how we're going to overcome the obstacle that we're against. And sometimes it comes down to our biggest problem is not enough manpower, not enough employees to cover all the demographics that we're hitting, because PhoneSkopes, it's pretty broadened beyond the hunting market, even though hunting's where we started because it's something we're all passionate about. It's hard for us to be able to be in 5 different niche markets within a given time. So I would probably say our biggest hurdle right now is just manpower, manpower having to be at multiple different places at once.
That makes sense. With those different niches you talk about, talk about those different niches and the different markets. Is hunting your biggest market? Is birding your biggest market? Like where are you, where do you see, your biggest segment of the marketplace?
Um, Hunting is definitely our biggest market right now. I think it's because we put a lot of our time and effort, resources into the hunting community. But birding is a really strong market for us as well. Astronomy is right there with it as well. We do a lot with astronomers, but also with our colleges and microbiology, medical fields. There's a lot of smaller other markets that are really coming on to playing a big role. We got the private investigation market that's really coming on board. People that are anywhere from your game wardens to your actual PI officers to your police officers to all different types of people that use optical devices that can use a phone scope to be able to actually document people doing something in a way that they can play it back and show one another. It's just kind of crazy to see how it's grown and where it's gone to from what we originally wanted it to be, I guess you should say. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure it is cool. But like you said, when you're kind of in the heat of the battle, sometimes it's hard to see the positives, which from a consumer standpoint, there's a ton of positives in the fact that you guys basically can adapt any phone to any optic and be able to shoot, photos and videos, basically have images at your fingertips. For those that aren't familiar with PhoneSkope, can you tell us about the molding process and how you actually go about, adapting any phone to any optic?
Yeah, no problem at all. So we build all of our products right here in the States. And what we'll do is when a new phone comes out, we'll take it, we'll build a prototype of it. So we have our engineers take it, break it down, figure out the center point for the camera, put our C2 disc is what we call the round piece that goes on the phone to where your adapter twists in and out of. And we'll go ahead and mock everything up, look at it, make sure everything looks good, then we'll 3D prototype it. We take it, we check everything, make sure the phone fits nice and tight, no slop, check and make sure the adapter twists in, and then we'll double check and make sure that everything's lined up properly. Once this is all done and approved, which honestly it sounds simple, and I just probably made it sound simple over the phone, which we're talking a good 2 to 4 week process, we then turn around and we take it to tooling. So then we start building the injection tool, which takes another 2 to 4 weeks. And once that's done, we then are able to inject the tool. And once we inject a few out, we'll take it, retest everything, and then find out that our shrink rate has been off somewhere. And so then we have to go through and make a few minor tweaks. Once everything's fixed, then we're able to actually polish that tool and then get ready for mass production. So it's kind of sounds simple, but a long process to be able to continually keeping up with all these changing phones. Bless Apple and Samsung and all these other guys that keep on bringing out brand new phones left and right. But that's kind of how the process works to get it to market. And then for the adapter side, we're able to do the same thing and build an injected tool. And therefore, that's for our common spotting scopes, binoculars, telescopes, and items that have a really popular part number. Things that aren't that popular, we actually have a lathe. So we have a CNC lathe, and then we also have just a hand lathe. And so if a customer sends us in a really oddball scope, then we'll take it back. Then our machinist will take the measurement of the ID, chuck everything up, and then they'll cut an actual custom adapter right there, test fit it on the spotting scope, give it back to the shipping department, and then they'll mail out an actual custom adapter. If it's one that we sell, say, 200 of a month, something that's not classified as a really common part, then what we'll do is we'll build a bunch of them from our CNC lathe. That way we can build multiple of them at one time and maintain the consistency of the ID, but yet it's not popular enough for us to build an injection tool, which costs us a lot of time and money to be able to do that.
Okay, that's a good explanation. And I mean, is it safe to say with the advancement in the phone technology as far as the quality of photos and videos, I mean, is it already way further along than what you anticipated when you and your dad kind of first were holding the phone up to the scope and getting the idea? I mean, it seems like with the new phones, it's taken it to a whole nother level now.
It still shocks me the quality that these cell phones are producing. And the only thing they're lacking is to be able to zoom in further and further. And once you throw them onto a spotting scope, you take away that part that they're lacking. So honestly, yeah, it blows me away. I mean, people are shooting 4K through a cell phone, which 4 or 5 years ago, nobody knew what 4K was. So it's for what a cell phone's producing now, it's just insane when you hook it up to a high piece of glass, a high dollar piece of optic. It's the results are just honestly mind blowing, breathtaking. It's amazing.
I hear you guys are doing a Utah elk hunt giveaway. I was wondering if you could tell the listeners a little bit about those details and where they can go to find out more and to sign up for this giveaway.
Yeah, no, we're really excited. So what we've done is we bought a hunt from R&K Outfitters out of northern Utah. Going to give away a Utah elk hunt. Obviously, we're based out of Utah. Love hunting Utah. Utah's got some great elk. I mean, Jay was able to hunt probably one of the best units in Utah. This one won't be quite like that, but there's nothing quite like hunting the rut in Utah. So the hunt we're giving away will take place right during the rut, and you'll have bulls bugling. You can use any legal weapon, your bow, rifle, muzzleloader, you pick. Accommodations, it's all expenses paid. So we're going to cover the flights to get people out here. The lodge is a 5-star lodge, amazing. Own private chef, you name it. It's awesome. They've got a pond, a small pond there that's got fish in it. So during the day, if you're not out somewhere, you can go back and hang out there. We went up last year and hung out a little bit. Was able to hit some golf balls and just kind of goof around, and it was a sweet time up at their lodge. But the cool part is on top of that, the grand prize winner will not only win the elk hunt giveaway, they're going to win a full Vortex Razor optics package. It's going to come with spotting scope, 85 millimeter too. So it's going to come with an 85 millimeter Vortex Razor spotter, a pair of 10 by 50 Razor binos. It's going to come with a whole new outfit from Badlands with a backpack, obviously PhoneSkope, setup, you name it, cooler tray, Utah Hydrographics gift cards, ton of stuff for the first place winner. And then we're going to give away 25 second place winners. So the 25 second place winner, they're going to get a pair of 10 by 42 Vortex binoculars, cooler tray, Utah Hydrographics gift card, let's see, PhoneSkope kit, I believe a Badlands bino harness. I think if there's anything else.
What do they have to do to be eligible?
So what you do to be eligible is you go to our website, and there's 2 different ways to enter. And the URL, the best way to do it is go to phonescope.com/elkhunt. And there's 2 ways to where you can do it. You can go online and just purchase something directly off our website, and any purchase is going to get the person entered into it. They'll have to opt in at the very end. It'll say, yes, opt me into the giveaway. And then it'll send us their all their information to put them into the drawing. But there's ways where you can get bonus tickets as well. So if you go to the store and say you buy a PhoneSkope from Sportsman's Warehouse, then all you got to do is cut out that UPC code and your receipt, and then submit it online. And then that'll also get you entered into the contest. But you'll get bonus tickets by doing it through a retail store. So we're kind of making it to where anytime somebody buys something that's PhoneSkope related, you're getting entered into this. There also is a free way to enter, where you just got to go onto our website, and it'll show you the no purchase necessary way to enter. And you can enter in that way as well. But we're going to be doing some fun promotions between here and the very end of June 30th, which is the last day of the giveaway, to where we can do a bunch of bonus tickets, to where you buy a hat, so you'll get an extra 8 tickets into the drawing, or a ton of different fun ways. We wanted to kind of do something really fun with this, and elk's my passion, so I kind of picked the grand prize on this one, and we're going to look into doing a deer hunt next year or something, but wanted to start out with an elk hunt here in Utah, and so we kind of threw all this together, and we're going to have a good time.
That's awesome. So just to be clear, this is a guided elk hunt on private land in northern Utah, and you can hunt with a
Yeah.
bow, muzzleloader, or rifle right when they're bugling.
Yep, it's going to be the September 5th through the 9th is when it's going to be. So the
Okay.
first part of September, and it's CWMU up there that R&K has. So it's all private CWMU land.
Okay. Awesome. It sounds awesome. And guys can go to phoneskope.com/elk hunt to find out more details.
You betcha.
And it sounds like what I heard you say is, you guys are a sponsor of the podcast, and guys use the JScott 16 promo code. If they order directly through PhoneSkope, they get a 10% discount. But what you're also saying is those people that buy any PhoneSkope products through Sportsman's Warehouse or Walmart or any other retailers, they basically can just cut their receipt out and send the UPC code, and they're still going to be eligible.
You bet. Yeah, we wanted to make it to where we didn't just define only people who bought on our website. We wanted to open up to everybody. So we
Okay.
wanted to give everybody an option, and so there's a million different ways to honestly enter and win, and we're going to change up some ways from here on out that they can get bonus tickets, or we're going to give away some extra stuff. Just to keep an eye on our social media feeds, the best thing I'm going to say, because we got some really cool stuff that's going to be popping up here shortly.
Great. That's fantastic. Sounds like a great time, and that's for this 2017 fall season coming up, correct?
You bet. Yeah, it's going to be coming hot and heavy. I'm excited. Can't wait to hear those bulls bugling.
Yeah, it's going to be great for sure. Also notice that you've got the new GoPro Hero 5 adapter out, the PhoneSkope adapter for that. Tell me a little bit about that, and what have you seen as far as the positives for the GoPro Hero 5?
Yeah, we finally got the GoPro Hero 5 out. We had some problems with the tool, but it's out. We're excited because the GoPro Hero 5 is a great advancement in small cameras. I mean, it's the quality that it takes is amazing. The 4K frame on it is beyond anything else we've seen. One of the problems GoPro lacks is its zoom at all, because it's actually seeing everything at 1x, which is it's so wide angle that you get some vignetting. The cool thing is because you can film in 4K, you can crop that down and eliminate all that vignetting and still maintain a 1080 or higher frame rate. So this new GoPro they've got out is a sweet GoPro. It's lightweight. The battery lasts for a long time. It's got a built-in screen, so no more having to guess where you're actually pointing. You can see right there on the screen exactly where it's at. So I'd say one of the biggest positives is the fact that they've actually got a screen built into this one, as well as it being a lot smaller and the batteries lasting a lot longer than the previous ones.
Good stuff. Also, you were telling me that you're about ready to have the Otter box and LifeProof cases where they're adaptable to the PhoneSkope adapter. Tell me when you think those will be available, and um, how do you think they're going to be?
So we've got the iPhone 5 and 6 out, but we've been struggling with the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus just because we've had some problems with our machines. Kind of like I told you earlier, and I'll admit it right here, that we've had a handful of problems, but we've got everything up and running now, and we're
Now,
going full bore ahead working.
not to interrupt you, but you're specifically talking about the OtterBox and LifeProof cases for the 5 and 6 are out, but you're talking about the 7 and the 7 Plus.
Exactly, yeah. So
Okay.
the iPhone 5 and 6 are already available on our website for sale. The 7 and 7 Plus, we're hoping to have them out and ready for sale within the next 30 to 45 days. So we're pushing them as hard as we can and trying to make sure that every loose end is buttoned up and they're ready to rock and roll. We had a couple little minor mishaps, but live and learn, and we're going forward 100 miles an hour right now.
Good. And have you found that a lot of people really like leaving their phones in their cases, such as the OtterBox or the LifeProof, but they still want to use the phone scope? And so there was I know for myself there was a little bit of a dilemma of, having my phone basically unprotected, not in a case. So you guys have basically solved that problem.
Yeah, we definitely we listened to the customers, and we kind of heard that they're like, man, I wish I didn't have to take it out of my Otter box because A, it's a pain in the butt. B, I want to be able to make sure it's protected 'cause I'm in the mountains. I'm a guy. I'm rough on it. All the above, which we totally understand and respect. So what do? We go to the drawing board, and guys, we got to figure this out. So we've got to figure it out, and we're going to have them ready for sale here as soon as we can. We'll definitely keep it popped up on our social media feed as soon as they're available. Probably send out an email blast. If there's anybody that's looking for one specifically that wants us to add to our email list, we've got an email list going for as soon as they're available. We'll send it out to those that actually have emailed us and asked, hey, let me know when this is available so I can be one of the first to get one. So we do have that. You can email us at support@phoneskope.com, and we'll gladly add you to the wait list. Therefore, as soon as it's available, you'll be one of the very first to know, and we'll get one in your hands and get you smiling.
Get you smiling. Do you, back to a earlier question I had, it sounds like with what you're saying here is you want people that want to be on the front lines of getting these OtterBox and LifeProof capabilities in the 7 Plus. Like there's a whole level of customer out there that buys from Walmart, but you still want to have the ability to have that direct to consumer relationship through your website with PhoneSkope, where they can order directly through PhoneSkope.com. So what you're saying is that if they want to be on that list, they need to go ahead and send that email right away, correct?
Yeah, just shoot us an email and let us know that you're looking forward to purchasing one of these new cases or any new phone out that's come out. It's like the Samsung S8 and S8 Plus. Let us know if there's a new phone that we haven't released yet, but you want to be on the waiting list so you can know when something's coming out. Feel free to shoot us a message. We're here. Our phone lines are here as well. If we don't answer, leave us a voicemail and let us know, hey, I needed this, and we'll get back to you. We'll add you to that wait list. Therefore, we can make sure that you're getting the necessary info in front of you as soon as we possibly can get it to you.
And from a customer relations standpoint, how important is it to you to have a customer's business for life? And I believe your product comes with a money back guarantee as far as if it breaks or something, you will replace it. How important is that to be able to have, obviously people every couple of years are getting new phones. I would assume it's very important for you to make sure that you can make that customer happy.
Yeah, and that's the main reason why we don't rush any of these molds out, because we got to make sure we nail it dead on the money the first time. So our R&D and our quality control takes quite a bit longer than we'd like, but we want to make sure that everything's dead on the money before we go to market because, like you said, it means the world to us to make sure that all of our customers are happy and satisfied. The last thing we want is for somebody to get out in the field and realize that the shortcut one of our engineers took is making their phone not stay into the case properly, or it's letting it do this. And so to answer that question fully, it means the world to us. That's kind of what we take pride on and we pride our business around is customer service and making sure that we're offering exactly what they're purchasing. So, and the next thing is too is if we don't know anything's broke, we can't fix it either. So if there's anybody has a problem, we need to know. That way we can make it right with that customer and make sure we get them up and running and taken care of in a timely manner. Vortex has done a great job in the industry by offering that exact service. And we compliment those guys and want to try to strive to have exactly what they have by taking care of the customers as quickly and fast as they can.
That's awesome. What hunts, well, first let me say, is there anything else going on at PhoneSkope, that you want to make the listeners aware of, the customers aware of out there? And then the next question would be, have you drawn any hunts for this fall, or do you have some plans for some drawn hunts that you have?
I caught wind that I should have a Colorado tag, but I don't know which one yet because I kind of did that little go through the back door and look to see if it shows what tags I have. So I'm planning on hunting Colorado third season, but I'm not sure exactly which which hunt I'm going to be hunting. So I'm hoping I got that. I got my Utah tag. I did draw a tag out in Nevada, a mule deer tag to hunt with Bull Ridge. So I'll be out there hunting with Trevor and the boys. Really good friends of mine. I enjoy going out and just spending some good time with those guys. So looking forward to that. But as far as New Mexico and all these other states, I kind of got let down this year. So we'll
Well,
we'll
you've
just have
had
to.
a pretty good run. I don't feel too sorry for you.
That is very true. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll pull an Arizona strip tag. You never know. Maybe there's still some luck left.
Pull some more rabbit out of the hat, huh?
Yeah, we'll see. You never know, right?
That's true. Well, it sounds like you've got a lot of stuff going on over there and some exciting stuff. And that's neat that you're able to do a giveaway on the elk hunt, that rut hunt in northern Utah. That's going to be awesome. And just encourage the listeners to check out phonescope.com and uh, you can find all of Cheston's products on phonescope.com. You can also find them in many retailers. Cheston, speaking of that, across the country, you're fairly widespread as far as your availability, PhoneSkope products out there. Can you speak a little bit about that with your different retailers?
Yeah. So Sportsman's Warehouse is going to be putting in a brand new gondola, kind of like an island in one of the main walkways. So they're going to be the best person to go in that's going to have the broadest selection of items. They're going to be putting in quite a big selection. We're really excited because it's going to be easy for the consumer to go in and pick up immediately what they're looking for. Cabela's also has a great selection, and then Shields is really stocking a great selection as well in, I believe, every single store that they have. So if you're looking for a major retailer, right off the bat, those right there are going to be, you can't go wrong walking into one of those stores. Your Walmart's going to have obviously your few universal kits, but it's going to be only a couple versus what you're going to be able to get at the other stores. And then mom and pops, we got a lot of mom and pops spread out all over. That's got a great setup of inventory. So my best recommendation would be go to our dealer locator on our website, type in your zip code, and it'll show you what's within a certain mile radius of where you're at. And then you can give them a call and just ask them, I'm looking to see if you guys have this in stock. Or by all means, even give us a call and we can do the dealer search for you and point you in the correct direction.
Awesome. I know I'm anxious to get the PhoneSkope adapter for my new BTX, my Swarovski BTX. So I'm putting in the verbal request right now. I'll try not to email you more than once a week about it, but I'm anxious to get that so I can start taking some images through that thing.
I'll tell you what, I think you got one of the prototypes. You're going to be one of our testers. So I bet it shows up at your house tomorrow, or I know it's shipped. So you're gonna love it. That's
awesome.
Pretty sweet setup so far. What do you think of that BTX, Jay? Since I got you on the phone now.
I really like it. I think as far as a weight savings capability compared with the KOAs or the Doctors, it's night and day. You're talking about a 65 millimeter BTX at 4.114 pounds. You're talking about the 95 millimeter BTX, 6.5 pounds. Compared with the Doctors, that are what 11 to 12 pounds. You've got the KOAs that are pushing 14 pounds. So you're talking about anywhere from an 8 to a 10 10 pounds weight savings. From that aspect alone, it's unbelievable. I think also, like I've talked about on several episodes of the podcast, the tripod that you're able to use with the BTX is your normal tripod for just your spotting scope or your say your 15s or what have you, and that's a huge weight savings right there. Whereas like the tripod for my KOAs, probably weighs 12 pounds. And the tripod that I use for my 15s and everything else is, probably 3.5 pounds. So, I mean, there's another 9 pounds of weight savings right there. And from an optical, quality standpoint, you get that Swarovski wow factor. if there is any limitations, with the BTX, it is a 30 power fixed with the 65 millimeter, or a 35 power fixed on the 95 millimeter. And but you're also being able to look through both eyes. And I feel like with I have the 65 and the 95 on the BTX. I have both objectives. And one thing I like is the fact that, you're not squinting. Yes, you're on 30 or 35 power fixed, but you're able to, scan with both eyes. Whereas, like, if you're limited to, say, a spotting scope, yes, you can go to 70 power on my, 30 to 70 power 95 millimeter Swarovski STX, um, but you're limited to one eye. So I feel like with the ability to use both eyes at 30 power sometimes is better than that, 60, 65 power looking through one eye. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, from where I think the BTX really shines is when you compare them to the Koas and the Doctors, the two, big binoculars. And then when you start trying to compare the BTX to spotting scopes, the only thing I would say is, with the 1.7 magnifier that they're coming out with, like on the 30 and the 35 setup. I mean, that's, you're talking about being able to have, 55 power, or I think it's 52 or 55 power fixed, with the 1.7 magnifier on that 65 millimeter, and you're going to still be under 4.5 pounds. That's pretty incredible.
No, that's very true. I like the forehead holder. How it holds your forehead in place.
When
That
I
thing's
first
awesome.
when I first saw that, I was like, "What is that?" That kind of looks stupid. Is a little gimmick thing, and quite honestly, what I found is it's pretty neat to have it kind of as a guide as far as on your forehead to rest, and it creates a perfect distance. You can adjust it in and out, and so it creates a perfect distance where your eye, doesn't have to bounce back and forth. I'm one of those guys that I glass with the eye cups, all the way in on anything that I use. And sometimes when you're kind of moving and such and panning back and forth, the distance from your eye to the lens, moves a little bit, and you sometimes get a little black ring and what have you. But that little forehead piece totally eliminates that because your eye stays the same exact distance away from the lens. So I think it's a pretty cool little tool.
I do too. I'm excited to see how
Yeah.
it's received for throughout the hunting season. So I'm excited.
For sure, buddy. Well, I want to give you a chance to make sure that you can tell the listeners how they can follow you on social media, and how they can get a hold of you, and remind them also that if you use the JScott16 promo code when ordering at phonescope.com, you're going to get a 10% discount. And Cheston, I want to say thank you to you specifically because you guys sponsor my podcast, but you also allow a discount for my listeners, which is huge. And anything I can do for my listeners is, big to me for sure.
Hey, not a problem at all. We appreciate you, Jay. We appreciate all the listeners and the feedback that we've received from the listeners that call us and give us their great advice on how to make what we feel our product that's the best there is. We get their advice on how to make it better, and that's what we love. We love hearing constructive criticism, and I feel like that's what really opens our eyes and makes us shine sometimes, is the fact that we're able to see things differently and understand that we can make improvements, and that's kind of where that Otter box came from. But as far as following us on social media, we'd love to have anybody that's up for it to follow us on Instagram at PhoneSkope, Twitter at PhoneSkope, and then Facebook at at facebook.com/PhoneSkope. And then also we got our YouTube channel. We're going to start really trying to crank out a few more YouTube videos than we have in the past. But we're also going to be working on a coloring book, kids coloring book, all the PhoneSkope pictures that people have taken throughout the past, and create something fun for the kids, because there's really nothing out there of North American animals that kids can color. And I was talking with my little boy the other day, and I'm like, hey, that's a great idea. Let's take some people's pictures and let's see what we can do. So keep an eye open for an opportunity to submit your photos and being able to do something like that here in the future.
Thanks a lot, Cheston. It was nice talking to you. Congrats on successful bear hunt, and yeah, we'll be anxious to see who the winner is for this elk hunt that you guys are giving away. And yeah, we'll hope maybe you'll draw a strip tag or sheep tag or something crazy. You've got a pretty successful roll of drawing tags going, so maybe it'll continue to be your year.
Hopefully you're the good luck charm, Jay.
All right, buddy. God bless and take care, okay?
Thank you. We'll
All
see
right.
you.
Bye.